So here, M bolt, min raises button. I choose a flat queen jack. I mean, it's for that price. I mean, it's doing pretty well against. And he's raising the button a lot here. So the flat, top pair, medium kicker, well, decent kicker, I guess, against his range. He's probably opening like Jack 8, Jack 7 suited, those type of hands. So here I'm pretty happy with my hand, because not only do I have top pair, I've got, backdoor, straight draw, and flush draw. And so, I'm pretty happy. When he bets, he's getting a continuation bet here a lot. It is pretty cheap. Like, I think a lot of people might be like, okay, this is a really small bet. I've got top pair, decent kicker, and some decent backdoor draws. I'm just going to check raise this because I probably have the best hand. That's probably true, but he's probably, there aren't really too many worse hands he's calling with. And I like flatting here because it kind of protects your flatting range. If you're check raising Jack Queen plus for value, when you do check call, to an observant opponent, it's going to be pretty apparent that you don't have a strong hand. And on a board like this, where it's fairly drawy, you're going to be faced with multiple barrels a lot because if he knows you've got a weak range, it's more likely he's going to push you off it. But check call, the turn, not too bad for me. I mean, gut shot, and the flush draw hits, but I've got the queen high redraw if I'm, behind. So now he bets 42. I mean, again, like, he could have a big hand, but also I check call 12 on the turn. My range looks fairly weak, so I think it is a lot more likely that he's trying to bluff me off of weakish hand. And so this is a situation where if I call turn, I do think I'm going to be facing a river bet a good amount of the time because check calling twice on flop and turn kind of leads him to believe that I don't have a super strong hand. A lot of times when I do check call here, he's probably going to expect me to have something like Jack 10, 9, 10, those type of hands where I might have a decent pair, but it's probably not that strong, or I might have something like pocket sevens with 7 of diamonds, or but overall, like, I feel like if I have a flush here, if I have 3 of a kind or a straight, I'm probably going to check raise to try and get more money in. So when I do check call, I do expect him to fire the river a lot, but that doesn't really concern me here because, I can go over it, but here I do think he's finding this river or this turn way too much. So I actually do think Jack Queen has a whole lot of equity. I might even be like over 50% equity here, but because when I'm behind, I've got a good outs to be ahead, and when I'm ahead, it's not too likely that he overtakes me. So it's a good situation to be in. And this is a good time to call turn, call river, because you're ahead a lot on the turn, and even when you're behind, it's fairly likely you'll improve. Times not to call might be when you have like, maybe like 7, 8 here with like a 7 of diamonds, or 9, 10 without a diamond. It just, when you're ahead, it's not as likely that you'll stay ahead, and when you're behind, it's not as likely you'll catch up. So you want to kind of be aware of those situations. Your different equity in different situations. When you've got like a good redraw when you're behind, and you've got, and when you think that you're ahead, you don't think he's going to catch up that often. Those are definitely good times to consider check calling or check calling. So he bets rather big. I mean, getting 30% equity call. I think it's pretty clear to call here. Certainly, he could be trying to push me off with. If I don't have a diamond, it's going to be tough for me to call. If I've got 9, 10, it's going to be hard for me to call. Even if I've got pocket 7 with 7 of diamonds, I think he might expect me to fold. And I think he's just not really thinking too much about it. He's an aggressive player. I think a lot of times he's just clicking buttons. I don't think. He's a decent regular, but I don't think he's really one of the better ones. So calling there is pretty easy. And then we'll go one last hand. Pocket sevens. I'll go through real quick. I'm kind of running out of time, but So I flat here. This is actually kind of a tough spot because I'm against Scarface, who I don't know too much about. Kind of a new regular. I've just seen him in the past couple weeks, but apparently it's just super aggressive. Like he's opening 40 to 45% of these buttons or of these cutoffs, and just looking, he c-bets a ton, and just overall he's three betting a ton and just trying to win a lot of pots. I have an option, given how wide he is opening and the likelihood that I might get four bet light a lot. I think it's not a bad option to three bet sevens here and definitely looking to shove over a four bet, but we are a little bit deeper. So I think that's a fairly decent plan, 100 BBs deep, just because, flatting here is going to be tough because, one, if we do hit a seven, his range is so wide that it's not necessarily, if he's a good lag, it's not that likely we'll get paid off because he'll be able to get away from some second best hands. And when we don't hit a set and we have like a situation here where we have an overpair or we have, say, a middle pair, it's going to be pretty hard because given how aggressive he is, we're going to be faced with a lot of barrels. So again, not really a great situation to be in, and you can kind of negate that a little bit by just trying to take away positional advantage by maybe three betting and trying to get it in a hand that you have expect to have a decent edge against a really aggressive four better. So he bets small. I mean, what can I do here? Again, like I don't expect him to have a really big hand. I mean, generally this flop size bet, it's sort of a feeler. I mean, you figure if he's got a decent hand, he's going to try to build a bigger pot. But at the same time, I'm just not really happy check raising and getting in sevens here because we are a little bit deeper. So I check call to see what happens. I check the turn, and it becomes tricky because the ace is such a great card for him to barrel that I do think he's going to barrel it a ton. Honestly, I mean, I've got decent equity here against his overall range because he is probably bluffing this so much. But I think if I check call twice, again, my range kind of looks sort of weak. I mean, maybe I've got, ace, ace jack or ace 10, but a lot of times I do have like sevens, eights, whatever. And so I do think I'm going to be facing a river barrel a lot. And here's a situation where if I am ahead, he's got a good amount of equity because he could have, a flush draw, or he could have, even jack king has 6 outs versus me. Whereas if I'm behind, I'm generally in a world of hurt because at best I usually have 2 outs. So here, as much as I want to call, it's probably best, if I just fold. I do end up check calling, but without doing the equity, I mean, I think probably just this is a spot where I'm out of position versus a very aggressive regular who's going to be barreling me a lot, and it's just way too hard to check call twice, I think, which I'm going to have to do. Because, I mean, if he bets this river, I mean, I expect him to be bluffing a lot. If he bets, 140 or something like that, like, it's a great river barrel card for him to bet with, like, any type of air hands he's got. So if he's betting the river, I think there's a decent chance that I've got, 30. He's bluffing maybe 30 to 35% of the time. So that being the case, I don't really want to invest a whole lot of money here with sevens, and I probably should just fold the turn. Anyway, that's been the video. Hope you guys